Here you go,
Live
Jenna.
again. We are live.
Awesome.
Back from the dead.
Yeah, that's because everybody was talking about Jar Jar, and we got completely taken off.
I told you, he's cancer.
Alrighty, let's see. Part 2 we're on, correct?
We are on part 2.
Part 2. Part 2.
Part 2, if we want to go that route.
It should show up. Yeah, it's up there.
Yep, we're going. We're going.
All right, take it away, Jenna.
All right, let's see. Well, we were just talking about Star Wars. Do we want to continue with any of that?
Well, I mean,
we broke it last time.
Yeah,
as long as
we broke it. We broke the internet.
as long as we don't talk about Jar Jar anymore. But my understanding, the Blu-ray actually came out this last week, and also the digital version of The Force Awakens came out earlier on in the week as well. Now, my understanding with the Blu-ray version, the digital version come out, there's not going to be a lot of commentaries if you decide you wanted to watch through the movie through the commentaries. That's too bad because I would love to have known a little bit more insight on when they actually start making. So those are actually interesting to watch. But there are supposed to be some deleted scenes. There's supposed to be some extra tidbits here and there. And any of you guys decide, have you picked that up yet or decided to pick that up?
Well, the Blu-ray doesn't come out until the 5th. So if you go to Best Buy, you get an exclusive Kylo Ren Steelbook. So
Fuck yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I like the Steelbook.
It's available at Best Buy.
I know he was a little bit whiny and kind of retarded, but I think his character is going to be badass coming up.
That's just
my personal opinion.
He just needs a hug. I love that. He
acted like a spoiled brat. He acted like a big spoiled brat.
There were some great memes of him with like breaking everything in his spaceship because he didn't get his way. It's quite hilarious.
Did everybody see the Saturday Night Live skit that he did? With him being doing undercover boss, that was friggin' hysterical.
That's like I see that at every show now is cosplay as him. I've gone to 4 shows this year already, and there's at least 3 of them at every show, and they're pretty spot on.
I actually saw one, and he was holding a stormtrooper picture, and it said teamwork on the bottom of it.
I love it.
It was hilarious.
That is friggin' funny.
So I'm really excited how they're going to kind of build up his character. I think Rey is badass. I think it was a little predictable with their fight scene. So I'm kind of disappointed, but I just can't wait till the next ones. And I'm really excited for all these spin-offs because I think it'll just give us some time to kind of absorb the universe and figure out, like where they're going to go and be excited for the next ones that come.
If it makes $1 billion, Mickey Mouse is going to keep on churning them out left and right every year. Seriously. Until it stops making $1 billion, then they're going to hold off a little bit.
I'm pretty sure they need some more money to keep Walt Disney frozen.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be $500 to walk through that park one day. It's already 100 and something? That's retarded.
Hey,
Jesus Christ.
I'm going to actually get an annual pass when Disneyland or Star Wars Land officially opens.
You know what's sad? I haven't even been. So bring down the price so I can go to Disneyland.
I mean, I live literally 15 minutes away, so I meant on certain nights I can hear the fireworks. I have a buddy who lives 5 minutes away, and we went over his house for New Year's Eve, and it was cool because they shoot off fireworks at midnight, so we're like, fuck yeah, we did fireworks for our own New Year's show. We're in the backyard partying, but there was a rumor, and there's a clip because there's Disneyland boards, and somebody posted a, you know how when you build things, you have to get like a license for it? And in it, for the city of Anaheim, it said $650,000, proposed land, blah, 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 and it said Marvel merchandise store at Disneyland. Because right now at Disneyland, you can get Marvel stuff throughout the park, but I actually posted, it's on my Instagram from like months ago, and it shows, and it's going to probably come out in a few months. And right now, a buddy of mine, his name is Storm Shadow. He's on Instagram. He got the variant covers for a Darth Vader #1, and it says the Disney Parks exclusive on it. I got a hold of 2 of them, and they're so hard to get in good condition because they're finger fucked to hell at the park, right? Because they just leave them. He got back 4 9.8s from CGC. That's how rare they are because it's impossible to find them in good condition. But with the Marvel merchandise stores opening, I think you're going to see more Disney Park exclusive variants coming out.
Tim, where can we PayPal you our money so you can go pick up some books? I'll be happy to give you a monthly installment.
No problem at all, man.
Yeah, I'll pay all up front.
I agree.
No, because they have them, but they don't really advertise them, and so they just have them inside the stores. And you know what's? It's really hard to find a good copy though, because think about it, just kids and tourists going, and they don't. It's like, have you ever walked into one of these merchandise stores?
Yeah.
It's like,
they grab everything.
When they get all their churro-filled fingers on the book covers.
Yep. Can you imagine that CGC label coming back? Oh, sorry, 9.2 churro fingerprints on fucking cover.
Jen, just curious. Do you do a lot of collecting yourself? I know Jeremy. Well, we know Jeremy. He does a lot of the cover arts and everything like that. But do you collect anything personally yourself that you enjoy? Any story arcs? Any particular characters?
Actually, I do, but it's no one that anybody really reads anymore. I do a lot of Witchblade.
I just got Witchblade. I just got the Psyblade She variant, which is the first appearance, and I started collecting them again.
Wow.
Witchblade, Darkness, and were some of my favorite runs that came out in the 90s. When Michael Turner passed away, I was literally sad.
Everybody was sad.
One of the best artists ever.
Oh my gosh, yes. I also do like Lady Mechanica. Not a lot of people read that. So I read Lady Mechanica and stuff like that.
Do you guys remember the Witchblade TV
Joe Benita's a fan.
Whoa, there's way too many people talking.
Yeah, remember there was a Witchblade TV show. I think it was on like on TNT for like maybe 3 episodes and disappeared.
Yeah, they just bombed. It was terrible, man. I didn't enjoy it at all.
Terrible.
I was so looking forward to that too because I had been reading Witchblade since issue. Okay, this is how all along I've been collecting. When Witchblade came out, I got it off the rack on #4.
Wow.
eBay wasn't around yet. The internet was still dial-up, dude. I had to call Comic Stop short or throughout the Bay Area on my day off, and I drove from like San Francisco down to San Jose in between every shop, and I found 3 issues of Witchblade #1. After 10 shops driving around, dude. You kids got it lucky nowadays. Damn internet.
You just point and click now. We had to hunt, man. I remember. Me and my best friend, every weekend, every beginning of the month, it was a local show at a hotel basement, technically. We would do that every month, save our money for a month, and go down there so we can get that's how I got my back issue, since there was no eBay. Or every week, me and my friend would go down to we had like 4 or 5 comic stores in between us, and we hit them both because either this store had this book or this book got sold out here. I mean, it isn't like we could have, Midtown, you had to go to friggin' Midtown. They didn't have an ordering system and stuff like that.
And all the shops that were around there was only like 2 that are still open, because then in the 90s that was the boom, man. I remember there was a shopping center that was on one end, there was one on the other end of the shopping center. That's how many there were. They were just, and then right after it, right around the .com crash is also the comic book crash, because you can kind of blame it on Image Comics for ruining the comic book industry, for making tons and tons of copies of just good art with bad stories that didn't last. Valiant did great stories with bad art.
And it also had to do with Marvel too. Marvel had to try to distribute their own comics because, believe it or not, I did work in a Heroes World store, and they were in charge of distributing Marvel comics and screwed that whole pooch and almost destroyed them. And that was basically almost the start of the downfall. And then everything else, like you said, too many variants, too many shiny covers, too many printings of everything, and it just burst, and that was it.
I don't know. I like the 90s, man. I think they pushed out a lot of good stuff, man.
I like them too.
And I mean, look at it. I mean, there was a lot of '90s cheese as far as the cover, the foil covers and things like that, the embossed covers,
die cut covers, or the die.
Oh, I would kill anybody for a chromium book. I love the chromium covers. I love those.
Ninjak #1, best chromium cover ever made.
Correcto mundo, definitely.
No, the Amazing Spider-Man 300 Chromium, that special collector's edition, that's going for like $700.
Oh yeah.
Dude, yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that and passed it up and just said, "Oh, I'll get it another time." God,
that one is beautiful when you see that, because I mean, first of all, they're easy to get 9/8 out of them if you get a hold of them, because the chromium covers are. You got to really bang them around to ding them up, man.
You got to. It has to be really physically hitting on metal or something to really bend them and really ding it up. I mean, you really got to smash the shit out of it.
The Dr. Doom has to finger fuck them, basically.
Oh, yeah. That picture I've seen in my head.
90s cheese right here.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That's the one that my father picked up when he went on vacation. He got me that. You
Secret Defenders?
Yeah, #1. I said, cool.
Yeah.
What I remember from the 90s was the Captain Planet comic with the really bad mullet. Remember, Superman had a mullet too? Everybody had a mullet back then.
I like Superman with the long hair. I had long hair back then, and then it all fell out. But anyway, that's another story.
I don't know about the mullet look for the superhero, especially with the Superman. I was like, where the hell are they going with this shit, But hey, everybody, welcome Big E's Comics to the show, man. He just happened to pop in. And...
Hey, what's up, guys? Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? How's everybody's doing?
Hi,
doing
buddy.
good, brother. Doing good. How's everything with you, man?
Good. I was just a little busy earlier, and I happened to, I get the alerts on my phone from you guys, so I jumped on the chat for a little bit while I was taking care of other things, and some time freed up, so I'm glad I'm able to jump on now.
Glad to have you on as well, man. And when we were talking about things like the new Star Wars spin-off movies that were coming out, we had also discussed the upcoming Wonder Woman movie coming out. Now, I want to know, you guys know Walking Dead, if you follow The Walking Dead, their final season premiere is this evening, okay? And they let off a little bit of a tease earlier on, if you were reading any of the articles, with Negan and his bat. Lot of speculation, man. Are they going to follow the comic book?
Kill him. Kill him.
Somebody's going to die, but they can't be killing off the only Asian character in the motherfucking show. What's up with that, man?
If you look at the promo shot when they show Negan's back, in front of him is the RV. So right away, right there, you can tell from the back that they can have at least a scene where he's in front of their RV and he has them, like kneeled down in front of him.
I will say this about this season: whatever happens to them is fully deserving of it, because they really went out of their way to fuck with the saviors, right? Because that one dude was like, "Hey man, these saviors are fucking with this," and then Rick like, "Okay, let me multiply that by 50, and we're gonna fuck shit up." And then he doesn't realize it's coming back to him really bad in the comics.
Come back to haunt them.
Yeah, that's where the show is different from the comic books. The show, the group in the show is more ruthless than the comic book.
But maybe that's next season that we get to see Negan and the rest of the group doing what they're doing to him.
I could definitely see it, like it may be showing. I don't know. They've been defeating. They don't really follow the comic a lot. So they might throw us a curveball here. But it's definitely going to be something with Negan being introduced, him showing the bat. The bat is going on somebody's cranium. Blood will be spilled. I want that. I don't care who it is. I just want that scene. And then kill somebody with the bat. And then fade to black, and then we all wait on the aftermath and how everybody's feeling and all their feelings, and I guarantee you everybody's going to be crying tonight because it's going to be someone that they liked, and then we're going to have it all week. I can't believe they did that. Shut up, it's a show. It's a show. Deal with it.
You know what you guys need to do is watch the Chris Hardwick show afterwards.
Oh, no, I hate that.
Because he takes things way too seriously. Like somebody dies, and he'll be like, guys, we're going to talk through our emotions on this episode, and I'm here for you. Like, shut the fuck up, dude. It's a TV show.
Here we are on Talking Dead, and it's been an emotional season so far, and tonight is well proven. Everybody in the crowd got a free box of Kleenex. Who the fuck cares? Get a life, people.
Cocksucker was charging $50 for his signature at San Diego Comic-Con.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get out of here.
Fuck him. He ain't worth $2.
Some people do them. I know some emotional people with this show, man. there's people that are like heavily invested into these characters, and
they're not real.
I know, but I'm telling you, there's people that are like that.
They're not real.
You say that, man, but when fucking Daryl got shot, I went, what the fuck?
I know,
I
know that, but we're invested. Thing is, when these people come on to that show and get on the mic and act like this is real, what were you thinking about that scene and everything? Who the fuck cares? Drink some Jack Daniels and shut the hell up and wait till the next show.
So, Mark, you're not going to be watching Chris Hardwick tonight, I imagine.
Fuck no. I am going to bed, or I'm coming back on here to do up some other stuff, and if there's a hangout going on with you, Sean, I'll be on with you tonight.
You need to get some blood pressure medication.
I'm fine. I'm calm. Believe me, this is my calm phase.
I think my blood pressure is going up just from this whole rant.
I'm good, man. This is my calm phase. Trust me. When you see me go, when you see bloodshot coming out of my eyes and stuff like that, that's when you need to call 911. I'm good.
I think the veins popping out of your head are kind of sexy, actually. Makes you kind of look like a veiny penis head kind of thing going on there,
What about that last episode cliffhanger of Daryl getting shot?
He got shot on the shoulder.
He took one on the back of the shoulder.
You'll be fine.
He'll live.
He said you'll be fine. I was like, oh, thank God.
Let's kill Rick off.
Yeah, that's the end of the movie. That's on the end of the story. That's it.
I don't think that'll ever happen. Yeah, because he's just...
He was annoying since season 1.
Well,
do that would be some big balls.
Do you think Rick has gotten a lot cockier in this season?
Yes.
With the whole savior thing, man? Because you notice especially when he's talking to other people about going in there and chopping shit up, it's just like he thinks he got, nothing's gonna happen to us.
Yeah, he's gonna have a reality check today.
That's right. It's a reality check night for them. A bat will be hitting someone's head, and I will enjoy every minute as I eat my next piece of popcorn and smiling with a big grin like this.
Did you notice that Rick doesn't ask the 3 questions anymore when he comes by? Yeah. You notice he's totally left that train of thought, meaning where he's just really just thinking like, I'm the shit, these are my people, we're gonna fuck shit up wherever we go, and this happens to be maybe the saviors. Negan is maybe worse than he is, where he's like, all right, you think you're the alpha in Alpharetta, Georgia? Get it? Anyway, but what he's saying is Negan is, he doesn't know who Negan is, but he thinks he can just fuck shit up, and I think Rick has inhabited this small world, and he doesn't realize the world is a lot bigger than he thinks it is, and he's stepping into that big world, and, and it's funny that we're only seeing Negan in the finale. Meaning the next season, I think, is going to be torture for Rick throughout the entire fucking season.
So.
You guys got to remember too. They were casting Negan while this season was airing. So whatever they filmed with him, it was something
very small,
very small, cut together last minute.
And what's up with Black Belt Jesus? We haven't seen it. Black Belt Jesus dude, the guy with the beard who got Rick to do it.
He should be in this one. I can't see why not.
And you got to remember too, this episode right now is their episode, I think 99. So it's gonna be like a cameo.
I got 99 problems, but a Rick ain't one.
Well, and you don't.
Season 7 is episode 100.
Something huge. Next season he's gonna be huge, right? I mean, it could just be the end of this show. It could be the last 5 minutes he could show up, right? But
right, he's going to show up.
Huge.
They're selling out their first Negans.
Right, they gave it away. Whoever's kneeling on the ground, and he's like, "Hello, I'm Negan," and then you see the bat with the barbed wire, and I'm like, "On someone's skull is going on the season finale. It's going to be rolling down the highway. I will enjoy every minute of that point."
Carl.
And if they don't do that, because I've been hearing that they might not even show the bat hitting someone's head, that they'll just black it out, and you got to wait till next season to see who gets the cranium crunch. And I'll be like, "No, screw that. No, you got to show someone dead. Someone's brain must be splattered tonight." And I
know one thing for sure. Tomorrow on Facebook and on Instagram, first appearance of Negans are going to be selling out like crazy, and I'll be selling all mine. So
and I'm not right now. If anybody wants to check out, a starting bid $25. So go for it.
People have been waiting for this episode to air to sell their copies because ever since it was announced, people started buying them up left and right. So I think tomorrow will be the time to sell them, but don't hold on to them too much after that.
I got them. Yeah, I got them ongoing for about a couple of days after Sunday, so it should end midweek.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I could totally see him doing that, hanging on, not showing you who they got hit till the next season.
No, they can't do that. They will piss everybody off royally.
Hey, what time does it air in the UK? Is it tomorrow or tonight?
Yeah, tomorrow at 8.
Stay off the internet, bro.
Yeah,
I have to do this every Monday, man. It's like, what am I going to do today?
Give me your cell number. I'm going to text you memes all night long.
Now, Painey, I mean, yeah, it doesn't air until tomorrow for you guys, but can't you just go on and, download it?
Well, I can download it, yeah, but what's the point for downloading it just to watch it, on a slightly less good resolution than my TV for, just a couple of hours?
It's better.
All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go ahead and introduce Nick. Nick, you there with us, brother?
Yes, I am.
Hey, what's going on? We've got Nick here from ETA Nick. First of all, welcome to the show, brother. First appearance by you. How's it going, man?
Good.
Nick, you there with us, brother?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, I am. Hey, what's going on? we got some backfeed coming on your end, brother. You're probably watching the show right now.
Yeah, yes, I am. Let me turn off. Hold on. There we go. That's better.
All right. That's better. Okay. Do we not have the pleasure of you gracing us with your beautiful face, man?
I'm trying to turn my camera on. There you go.
There we go. Everybody welcome Nick, ETA Nick, to the show.
What's up, buddy?
Yes. This beautiful face, yes.
Yes, very wonderful. Now myself and Tim are not the only Asian guys on here, man. So we're coming strong now. So the reason why,
my brother from another mother, Nick.
The Alpha Asian is here.
Alpha is another way of saying he's the oldest one in here.
He's the oldest.
That's so adorable.
I am the oldest one and probably the shortest one also.
Aww.
Nick, it's very interesting, and the reason why I asked Nick to come on the show, and he was nice enough to come on today, was because Nick has a really interesting background in the comic book grading industry, I guess you can call that. And I wanted him to come on and share a little insight to what's, as far as CGC, CBCS, and, without divulging a lot of the trade secrets and without, of course, throwing anybody under the bus or what have you. Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and what you did and what you do right now, brother?
Okay, well, I live in Sarasota, where CGC is. It's about 15-minute drive from my house, and about an hour away from CBCS. I interviewed for a job at CGC back in 7 years ago, 6 years ago. It's been a while, and I would say I'm somewhat of friends of many of the graders at both CGC and CBCS. I have visited them many times. It's a cool bunch of guys, but I thought about working there once, but thankfully my common sense tell me not to do that. After I learned how much work I would have to do, well, when I interviewed for the job, it was for a full-time job, but I told them up front that my son was like barely 1 year old at the time, and I said there's no way I can be working full-time. In hindsight, he was 2 years old, and this is 6 years ago. And well, for those that don't know how CGC the whole process is them making you grade books in front of them. Okay, so you walk in there, they're gonna put a stack of books in front of your face and tell you how you grade, and tell them why you give the grade to each book.
That's the job interview?
Yes, that's the job interview. So man up if if you think you can grade. Wow. Okay, so don't go in there and pull out a VG copy and say this is eBay mint. Get the fuck out. So Nick, you grade in front. So I graded in front of the 3 graders back then, and at the end of the interview, I told them that as much as I like to work here, I don't think this is a right position because my son is 2 years old and I'm a stay-at-home dad. I'm semi-retired, being a lazy bum that I was. At the time, I was like 43 years old. I'm like, I'm semi-retired, man.
Hey, Nick, can you tell everybody, I remember on one chat I had on your show one time, you talked about the vault at CGC, and I don't think people get an idea of what, because you've walked through there, you've seen the vault and where everything, they keep everything, right?
The vault, the biggest thing at both CBCS and CGC is the vault. The vault at both places is probably bigger than most banks. Okay, it's massive. In fact, the biggest cost and took the longest for CBCS to launch was to build the freaking vault. It housed literally like 100,000 comic books.
Wow! Oh, shit!
It's bigger than most store. Okay, it's massive. It's shelf and shelf and shelf of insane amount of books. There are literally millions dollar worth, but because dollar worth of comic books in there. And I used to know a postman that pick up and deliver to CGC, and he said, "Man, that place is such a pain in the ass because the security was so tight. Just to like pick up stuff and drop off stuff, like so much hassle to deal with that." But back to my interview. So at the end of the interview, I told them, as much as I love to work here, I don't think this is going to be a good fit, because if you hire me, who can only work, say, 25, 30 hours a week based on my daddy's schedule, you still will have to find another person, because you're looking for someone that can work 50 to 60 hours a week. It would make no sense, business sense, to hire someone like me. So I kind of back out of it, and I stay friends with them. I go to lunch with them. I met them at parties. There's a lot of get-together parties.
Nick, can you tell us how much the salary is starting for somebody who wants to be a grader at CGC or CBCS?
It's not high. I can't divulge more, but I can tell you, if you're renting to live, you stay renting. Wow. Don't go buy a house because you got a job at CGC. You know who got rich at CGC? The owner, because he drives a Maserati. Every time I go there, I saw his fancy Maserati or whatever fancy car he's driving. So he's the one that probably make the most money. And believe it or not, CGC division is probably the least profitable division of the company. The company grade coins, paper money, other things. Okay, and coins and paper money are very profitable. Think about this: when you grade comic books, it's a lot of work, right? You got to flip through the books, look for restoration, flip through 20 pages, right? When you grade a gold coin, guess what? 2 sides. It takes literally 10 seconds to check for restoration or whatever it is, and it's done. A comic book takes 10 minutes. Okay, so they churn and burns with coins. Okay, that's where the big money is. And if you look at heritage auction, the coins are bringing in tons more money than comic books. Okay, that's where the big money is. Okay, well, back to comic books. So, as far as CGC, they're always hiring. If you know what you're doing and you're willing to move to Sarasota or to Tampa to work for CBCS, I think it's never hurt to contact them and tell them that you want to work there, and they will interview you. I mean, I got the interview. Here's how I got the. For those that participate in the CGC forum, I'm sure many people here do that as well. Right now, in fact, just last week they finished a grading contest. Anybody here do that? But there is at least once a year, if not twice a year, there are a grading contest where they show raw books, scans of the books, and then you guess the grades, and then they show you the grade, and they have all kind of fancy system. They coincide the contest with the March Madness basketball.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, after my last batch came back from CGC, I would never ever win that contest.
But they have at least two contests like that. One is like a basketball round of 64, and then one is different. But I participated in all of those contests for many years. And how I got the job interview was I finished in the top 3 a couple times. One time I was number 2. I never win any contest, but I finished 2 once and 3 once. And I emailed CGC the link to the contest result. I said, this is how I did in those contests. If you think that I have the right skills to work for you, give me a call. And that's how I got the interview.
Is that through Michael Ballant?
Who did I email to?
No, the Michael Ballant. You know, the guy that does all the Signature Series stuff. Have you ever met him and interviewed him to be? Because I understood he meets every single person that is a CGC witness, even subcontractors.
Nope, never met him. I met, I met at the time. I met the current head grader. I haven't, the name escaped my brain right now. But like CGC has went through 3 head graders over the past 16 years.
Oh wow!
And the number one, the first head grader is of course Steve Barak. He's the one that started CBCS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he lived probably like 20 minutes from my house. Cool guy. If you're a Grateful Dead fan, he's his best friends. He's a big Deadhead. But but that's how you can get your foot in the door at CGC. Now, even if you don't have that, one of the YouTubers, believe it or not, about 2 years ago when CBCS first launched, contact me because he know that I friend with many CGC creators. He said, Nick, can you help me get a job? He's only been collecting for 2 years or so. He young guy, and I'm like, well, let me have your resume, and I told him who to contact and drop my name, and guess what? He's a grader now at CBCS. So, as I told Marty, if you're serious about wanting to work for either company, let me know. I will I can help you get your foot in the door. Like I said, I know all those guys well enough that I can help you get your resume on top of the pile.
So, Nick, if I were to send you some books, could you guarantee me some 9/8s?
No.
Let's get to the real nitty-gritty. Come on.
Well, Nick, it's very, very interesting. Tell them that story you told me about when CBCS was actually starting out, and they had come to you. Oh, I don't know if you can divulge that type of information or not, but I thought it was very interesting.
Well, I can, let me say what I can say. Well, I knew about CBCS long before it ever existed, okay? Because I knew Steve. After Steve Barak left CGC, he went on to be the lead consignee at Heritage. Okay, so he's the guy that go on the road to talk to people, to get people to consign books to Heritage for all the auctions. Okay, that's what Steve Barak did after he left CGC. In fact, for those that understand the twin, that heard about the Twin City pedigrees, that's one of the big things that Steve Barak was able to bring to the table for Heritage, because he found a pedigree. So during that time at Heritage, that's when I met Steve. Okay, because when I interviewed with CGC, he has already left. And then how I met him was I make a big donation to the Hero Initiative. That foundation that help artists if they came to a hard time. I made a donation maybe 6 years ago. It was a nice thing to do because I heard about, that was the first time I heard about Hero Initiative and what their purpose was. So I make a big donation, and Steve called me up on the phone. He's just like, you have made the biggest donation ever, and I would like to thank you for doing that, and I just found out that you live in Sarasota, so can I take you out to lunch? And that's how the friendship with me and Steve started, okay? And right at the very beginning of the friendship, I always, from many conversations, I'm just like, so, Have you ever thought about starting your own company? You know, and in a roundabout ways, you know, he talked about, you know, the cost of startup. He talked about the non-compete clause that they all have. Okay, and it's funny because, you know, over the next 4 or 5 years, as I heard other graders quitting, I have a hunch that something is cooking. Okay, because I'm not the only one. If you follow the CGC message board, a lot of people wanted another company to compete. So it was very obvious for many years now that a lot of people wanted a second company to force competition because they were tired of the monopoly. Okay, so it was not a surprise for me to, you know, to see that. And then you know, one day they popped the question to me and they say, Nick, you know, we're starting the company. The bands are getting together. A few ex-graders from CGC are getting together to start the company. Would you be interested in investing some money with us? Would you invest in, you know, talk business with us? Potentially work with us in some capacity, things like that, you know. So, and they came to my house, and we have a long lunch, and I feed Steve a lot of my opinion of what I think they should do with the business. You know, one of the things that I was disappointed, as I told Marty, was, you know, like for those that follow CBCS from the beginning, for the first year they were in business, they did not charge you any money until the books are graded, right? Or start grading.
Correct.
That was one of the things that I told Steve many, many times. I was just like, I dislike getting charged and then wait 3 months. That is just crazy. That makes no sense. And so I was very happy that they did that, but then I was very disappointed when they decided to revert to the CCC methods of charging upfront and make you sit for 3 months, because it's just money gouging. You know, I don't make it any beef about how I don't like that kind of method, so it's not as if I'm throwing them under the bus. They know how I feel about that, okay? I get the phone call.
And they also have a problem with the plastic that they were using in the holders in the beginning, too? I remember there was a whole thing with that.
Yeah, you know, in fact, for those sleuth detectives out there that want to do some digging, when they came to my house, they asked for a specific book to borrow to market the company. I had the first book ever slapped by CBCS. They came over to my house and they said, you know, would you like to, can we borrow a book?
I remember when there was a problem with the plastic, because one of my first submissions through CBCS was, I think, 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and that's when I used their signature verification. It took 4.5 months to get back one book, and they gave me a $1.50 discount coupon when I got it back. And that was when they were just changing out the plastics, I believe, from the first iteration to the second iteration. Now look what CGC is doing. They're changing their plastic out to make, you know, to catch up to CBCS's. Have you seen that yet, Nick? Have they? Actually, Nick, have you gone there and have they showed you the new cases yet for CGC?
No, I have not. I have not been to CGC in the past 6 months. It's been a while since I went to CGC. You know, I haven't graded a book in a while. But you know, the CBCS is, you know, one of the things that I did tell the guy at CBCS at the beginning was, you know, I felt they underestimate the market because, you know, they didn't bring in that many graders, right? At the beginning, there was like 3 or 4 graders. And I remember, you know, I'm like, you guys will be so busy that you don't need, because they were looking for, they were discussing about, you know, getting additional financing, investors to, you know, because based on their estimates, they won't break even for like 2 years or whatever number they were throwing out, you know. They were discussing with me, and I'm just, you don't need other investor money, because the more investor you bring in, the more piece of the pie you get to give out later, right? So if you can be profitable and up and running right now without taking any more pennies or nickel or dime from anybody, do it. And I think you can do it. That was probably the best advice I gave them. I told them, based on what I understand, based on the chatters with other people, I know your service will be booming from the get-go. You are not going to have to like beg people to use your service. You're not going to have to discount the shit out of everything to get your service, and you're going to be busy up the yin yang. And they
no pun intended.
You know, they went crazy busy, and they were able to. They have outgrown their space.
Yeah.
Okay, I have been to their offices, and they have outgrown that space that they thought they don't need. In fact, the vote, from what I was told, is full.
Wow.
You know, if they could, they would double that vote right now. The vote is full. It's insane. It exceeds every expectation that CBCS had. You know, I mean, I'm happy for them. You know, I'm glad the market has a second company. It's good for competition. You know,
hey,
CBCS
Nick, what do you mean second? What about PGX, Nick?
Oh,
yeah.
Tell us, Nick. Nick, tell us your view about. You say, you know, different companies are good for competition and it helps with the market. Now we got other companies like, you know, PGX, and you have Vault, and then what's that other company's name? I forgot what they were called. But what do you feel about? Should there be more grading companies? Would that help the market out? Would that dilute it anyhow? How do you think that would be good for business, or the monopoly that's involved in that?
Well, you know, I think right now it's good to have two. The problem with grading company is, you know, I'm confident that I can grade. Okay. In fact, a few years ago, I create my own contest on the CGC message board, and I put up 20 books that I want to submit, and I said, for everyone I want to play the game, you can submit the grades to me, your guess, and then I will give you what I think the grade is. Okay, so I share my guess, and they share their guess with me, submit their guess, and then we'll find out who's good and who's bad and who's close, right? A CCC grader was in the game playing. I beat him. Okay, I finished number 1. It's my own contest, but I couldn't win the prize. But as a prize, I give. This is before, of course, Fantastic Four 46 was blowing up. So as a first prize, I gave away a FF46 7.5. You know, so I'm pretty confident in my own skills. But the problem is to create another company. As I told Marty, the hardest thing to create is the slab. Okay, the slab is a pretty cool machine. It's not something that you can buy off the rack. You have to design that. It's not heat seal. Okay, I can tell you that. It's not a machine that seals the plastic using heat. But that's all I can say without divulging anything more. But that's the most complicated piece of equipment, okay? One of the reasons why people say, oh, you know, why don't CBCS grade magazine size? Guess what? Magazine account for like a very small percentage of CCC business. CBCS know that the cost benefit of spending X dollar to come up with another machine, to order another machine just to satisfy 1% of the market is not worth the money, not right now. That's why they don't do it. It's not that they would never do it, but the odds are they probably won't do it for many years because they understand the sweet spot of the market is the modern market. Okay, a very small percentage of the business for both companies is Silver Age, Golden Age, or Bronze Age. For both companies, the bulk of the business is Modern Age. That's why both companies are whoring themselves out for signature series. signature verification at every convention. They have to do it because it's a money grab. It's a money grab. That's why I told Marty, for those that live on the West Coast and you want a job with CBCS, take my advice. Call them up, write to them, and say that I want to be your rep, your witness at all the West Coast convention. I guarantee you, you get the job. Because they would love to be at every, they would love to have a booth at every convention on the West Coast to hoard in tens and thousands of books because every book is $20. Okay, it costs them. Imagine this: as far backlog as both companies are. Okay, both companies literally have hundreds of thousands of comic books in the vault that they already collect money for. Okay, and collecting interest and whatever it is, but yet they still go to convention. You know why? Because if they take in 3,000 books at signing, that's $60,000 of revenue like that. It would cost them $2,000 of cost, 2 nights hotel for 2 dudes. All you gotta do is pack up the box and ship them back to CCC with all the paperwork, and guess what? That's a nice chunk of profit, right?
Yep.
But that's my thing, you know. Like if I was young and single and can travel every weekend, that's what I would be doing. You know, I would be driving up from Seattle to Vancouver to Portland to San. I go to every convention. It's a CBCS rep.
I just saw that at WonderCon. Because both CGC and CBCS both had a booth at WonderCon, and they were literally on the same row. Maybe 3 booths were in between them. The CGC booth was busy all day long. The CBCS booth just sat there with nothing to do. And I've been to all West Coast shows probably for the last 4 years, and this is the first time I've seen CBCS have a booth at a California show. They may have been there in the past, but they rarely have a booth. But they have tons of people that do that are, like you say, subcontractors. I work with a lot of guys that can verify for both CGC and CBCS.
Yeah.
Interesting story. At the last show, WonderCon, a friend that came with me got a Hulk 182 signed by Lou Ferrigno, who was on like Has Been Alley, and he didn't get anybody to witness it. So I go, dude, why don't you take it to CBCS and get a signature verification? It's $25. And he goes, well, I don't want to pay for it. I said, just go over there. He goes, okay. So we get up to the front, and half jokingly, I asked the CBCS guy, I said, hey, man, what's the chances you guys can say that you actually saw Lou Ferrigno sign this and we get a yellow label out of it? And I was half joking. He goes, and it was like his secondary. He goes, I don't know. Let me ask the boss. And I go, fuck, really? So he asked the boss. The boss goes, well, it's technically against the rules, but if you go over there and Lou Ferrigno says, yes, I did sign this, then we'll give you a yellow label. I was like, dude, I told my buddy, I said, man, you just saved yourself $25 for the signature verification. So they went back over to Lou Ferrigno's booth, and he wasn't there.
Oh.
So then the CBS guy goes, fuck it, I'll just say he was here and I asked him. So he got a yellow label out of it. Now, and that's against every single rule of CBCS and CGC. If you ever will be a witness, if you break eye contact, because I did a whole fucking long video about it, and it was some group that I won't discuss right now, and they broke contact with me for 2 seconds and they voided my signature series. Now, I won't say this is a thing against CBCS because CGC did it for me too at the Gorbalinda show, which is a much smaller show. And I said, oh man, I didn't know you guys were here, else I would have guys had you witness it. She goes, we can't do this, but it's a small show. Let me walk over there. And it was Joe Jusko. And she said, hey Joe, did he sign this for you? He goes, oh yeah. She goes, okay, we'll give you a regular label for. So, you know, they both do it, but you know, it's against the rules, but I'm still pissed at the time. It didn't work for me though.
Well, you know, both companies will bend the rules. Okay, I can tell you that there is no hard and fast rule. It's not as loose as grading scales. Okay, the grading scales are not consistent. Okay, one of the biggest problem I have with CGC and even CBCS is, you know, I do see inconsistencies because it's human. We are not consistent. You know. To sit there and grade 300 books a day is brutal. To do that 6 days a week is brutal. Okay, so I don't care how much you love the hobby, but if you have to sit there and grade 300 books a day, 6 days a week, you will have some inconsistencies. Okay, and even though the system is built where you have 3 graders, okay, both companies use the same kind of methods where you have 2 junior graders, right, grading the books. And then the senior grader will come in and either agree with that or veto it, okay? In the old days, there was time in the old days at CGC where it was 2 out of 3, like the majority wins, okay? There used to be a time, for those that are too young to remember, you know, like graders notes. Right now, you have to pay for graders note at CGC, right? In the good old days, you can call CGC on the phone and say, can you give me the greatest note on the phone on this book? And you give them the certification number, and they will tell you, oh, so and so, here's a note, and 2 out of the 3 graders say it's a 9.2. Majority wins. You know, or something like that. Like I said, it's been so long since I did that. So, but there used to be a way to get greatest note that way on the phone that quickly. I mean, it takes 10 seconds to get greatest note, and then too many people did that, so they had to cut off that thing and start to charge money for it.
Nick, can you tell us a little bit about the grading process?
Well, you know, the way the grading process is you know, so occasionally you hear people say, "Oh my God, I submit books and the book was damaged, or the grade was so much lower than what I thought it was. Maybe there was some kind of damage in the process," and it can happen because when you send a book into CCC, for me, it's about hand deliver the books. Okay, I have never mailed in anything to CBCS or CCC. I deliver everything because I live close enough. But the first person to touch it will grab the book. One time, one person grabbed it so badly she damaged my books. I was so pissed. But that's one hand that go through, and then they label it, they categorize it, they put it in the vault. Okay, and then when the book finally get out to the grading process, this is what happened. Okay, they have pre-graders. Basically, these people are the one that do the dirty works that save time for the graders. The three graders do not sit there and count every page. Okay, they don't have time to sit there and flip through 20 pages. So they have guys like the intern that sit there and flip through the entire book to make sure that all the pages are there. Okay, so that's the first part of the whole grading process, and then it does go through the restoration check. Okay, so usually by the time the graders get to the book, they are like the 4th person that handle the book. It has already passed through at least 3-4 set of hands, you know. And then of course, you know, they grade and they put down the notes. And in the good old days, the notes are very scarce. You know, it's not as if the notes are meant to give to us to tell what's wrong with the books, right? I mean, it's just like notes between graders. You know, notes for the junior graders, what he saw was glaringly obvious. But then, you know, then the senior graders is basically the 6th person to finally touch the books, and he's the one to say, okay, you know, I agree, this book is this great, blah blah blah, and then it go into the vault. You know, but it passed through a lot of hands. Okay, it passed through half a dozen hands right there, even before the slabbing process. So, you know, can a book get damaged even after the grade? Absolutely. Can the book get damaged after the machine come down? Absolutely. I have seen books that have staple pop. I have heard of books that got, you know, staple pop when it was slabbed. It happens, you know. So damage can happen. But basically, you know, I have seen the grading rooms, you know. So I'm not sure what I can say, but you know, it's a fun place. You know, you'd be surprised, you know, how as hard as these guys work, they have fun because, you know, like a CBCS is a big room with half a dozen dudes sit there, open environment, you know, and you see books out of yin yang. You know, you see. When I was there at CBCS one time, they just received a collection of like 100,000 books. It was insane. I have never seen so many long boxes in my life.
Well, let me ask this, Nick, with the grading process and everything like that. Yeah. A question that came from Jeremy, he was very interested in knowing this, was the pressing process through the grading. How much does that affect the grading process? Basically, his question was the procedure of pressing a comic to try and get a better grade, and as well as how that affects the process.
Well, I'm wondering if his question is if you send a book to CGC to get pressed,
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think, you know, I know CCC. I know CCC say that, you know, there's a separation between the pressing department and the grading department. This is just my speculation, okay? I'm trying my best not to throw anyone under the bus. To me, it's very easy for the graders to know where the book came from, okay? I mean, CCC for a long time said, we don't know who sent the book. Because the book came to them with just the code, you know, with just, you know, some kind of numerical code, and they don't know if Nick Vu sent the book. The fact is, it's within a finger touch for them to know who sent the book, because they all have computers, okay? And the book that sit in front of them have the code. They can look at the code on the screen and know exactly who submit the book. So they can tell where the book came from, whether it came from CSS, that pressing the service that they use. I don't know. But the bottom line is, I think, as much as some people say that we can't tell a book is pressed or not, I disagree. I say that for some book, you can tell if it's pressed or not. You know, because we all know when a book have a crease, right, a bend that break colors, if it's still bent, we know it has not been pressed. But if a book have a big ass 4-inch crease, a brick color, and that look flat on a table, we know it has been pressed. There is no fucking way that you can take a book, put a fucking 4-inch crease in the cover, okay, and then it come to me completely flat except for that one line. Okay, so it's to me it's kind of half-assed reason to say, oh, we can't tell a book is pressed or not. Yes, you can. Not all the time, but some are so obvious. You know, unless you're new to the hobby and doesn't understand pressing, you know, but I don't think the graders care, to be honest. The graders care about, graders know that pressing is accepted, okay? The battle for pressing is restore or not is over. I remember on a CGC board for many years, that was a huge debate. Every day, every week, every month, there are so many people yelling, screaming, pressing is restore, blah, blah, blah. But I have always said that the day that pressing service was advertised at every convention is the day pressing was accepted by the norm, by the mass. It's no longer a secret. It's no longer something dirty. When pressing companies start to put booth right next to CCC to accept commission, it's not a secret, okay? So
well, CGC offers it through CCS now, so it's like, you know, it's not like they discourage it either.
Yeah, so they understand. The thing is, you know, for the young people that doesn't understand, pressing was even advertised back in the 80s in Overstreet magazine, in Overstreet Guide. It was not something that new that came out 10 years ago. It has been in the techniques of pressing has improved significantly over the past 10 years. Okay, the techniques have improved.
I'm sorry, but I gotta agree with that, because when I was younger and going to these little shows back in the 80s and whatever, and I said, hey, what do I do about folds on books? And they always said, just stack books on top of it and press it, like, or whatever, keep it in like in a certain environment. And that's what they told me to do. And that's why I hear the pressing. I don't really consider it restoration. That's just my thing about it. But anyway, sorry to cut you off, but I agree with that.
Not a problem. Not a problem. You know, because, you know, some people even use you know, ironing for clothing. You know, I mean, it's not rocket science. You know, pressing paper is not rocket science. You know, it's just like like ironing a shirt. When a shirt is wrinkled, guess what? You add a little moisture, you add a little heat, you add a little weight on it, it's straightened out. So it's not like something that was just invented in the hobby 5-10 years ago. It just become more of a knowledge, common knowledge today. And so I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think graders look at a book and say, oh, this book has been pressed, so I had to look at it with some kind of taboo thing. And, you know, it's not a big deal at all. You know, I mean, I know there is a lot of people that still hate pressing. They think it's like poison. To me, it's just like, if you don't like to press your book, be prepared that the next person that owns the book will press it and make more money on the book. You know, don't be hating on that person. You know, if you're gonna leave money on the table, somebody will take my advice to people that hate pressing. I'm like, if you hate pressing, be prepared to take all the book to your fucking grave, okay? Because when you die, someone will press the fucking shit out of it, okay? You know, because it's
dropping F-bombs.
When I hear people so adamant about I hate pressing, it's restoration, I'm just like, it is what it is, and if you don't like pressing, then that's fine, but be prepared that the moment that you sell that book, it's out of your control. So you either
I just want to say, Nick, I have a question. You're so adorable. Can I put you in my pocket?
He's a married man now. No pocket.
Well,
I am a happily married man.
I am too. I'm just saying, you're so cute. I just want to take you around with me everywhere.
That's how me and Nick first met.
That's great.
It's a true fact. If you put Nick inside your long box, all your books will become near mint.
I had the magic touch, you know. But so I have experimented with pressing myself. A few years back, I saw an ad locally from a print shop, you know, the shop that make frame for pictures, frame, and they have like a pressing machine that they want to sell. It's like half broken, so I bought one. You know, and play around with it. I mean, it's half broken, so it's not as if like I can use it without hassle. The handle's broken, you know. So and if for anyone to press book, you know how heavy that thing is, right? But you know, like I said, it's not hard. Anyone can press books, and you know, a lot of professional. Oh, they'll get the sriracha shirt.
It's my big red cock shirt.
Yeah. You know, but you know, like I said, I can answer as many questions I can. You know, as far as grading comic books, you know, I think you know the grading service is doing so well because you know one of the things that CBCS got it right was you know, they understand that CGC have a big loyalty, right, with many dealers over the past 15 years. So they target the new collectors. They target the modern markets because if you just got into the hobby last year, this year, or 2 years ago, you don't know much the difference, you know what I mean? So you're gonna go with something that look as nice, maybe a little bit cheaper, maybe a little bit faster, but there's no loyalty to CCC. And I think they hit the sweet spot right away with the signature verification process and all that stuff, and that's where the battleground is. Okay, the battleground is for the modern market. It's not about the silver age, the golden age. Shit, both companies create like maybe 10, 20, 30 books a month for those kind of things. They don't give a shit about golden age. You know, that's not where the big money is. Sure.
No, Nick, talk about the because I think a lot of people who are casual graders or get slabs, they don't get, especially on the CGC side, they don't complete sets, and that's where CGC gets a ton of money on modern books because people try to complete sets. And if what a set is, I have Wolverine the complete run 1 through 125, and I have a 9/8 in every single one. CGC will send me a little certificate to say, congratulations, you have the set, and there's a registry online that has scores, and you can get sets, and you can, it's all a pissing contest basically, but that's what Nick, I think Nick, if you could expound on that, and what people get sets is, and that's what they do is, because moderns are the easiest to get a 9/8 on, right? You know, the books from the last 5 years.
9/8 is so easy, and CBCS will do that too. You know, CBCS is well aware that the set competition is a big part of driving the modern collectors to buy slabs. They also understand that the message board is a vital part of marketing. Okay, so it's coming. They are just so busy. Okay, that's the thing. All these things are discussed 2 years ago before they launched the company. Okay, we talk about message board, sets, all that stuff. It was discussed. It's just that they just didn't expect to receive a couple 100,000 slabs so fast. You know, so they're doing their best to catch up, but they have been talking about the message board even before they launched the company. So it's coming. The competitive set for CBCS is definitely coming. Okay, I don't know when. My guess is about the same time they will launch the message board. Okay, because that's what the message board is for, right? It's for the pissing contest.
Yeah, and let's be honest, the CGC forums or message boards are probably the best place and worst place on the internet to be both at the same time, because there's total cool, informative people on there, and there's just serious assholes who just want to just talk shit about. You post a book on there, they'll rip it apart. There's forums in there where you can post a raw book and ask everybody's opinion on the grade, and somebody will be a smartass. There's not just slab forums, but they discuss everything, and the CGC forums are so old that it's still called a forum. Who the hell still uses an internet forum, right? Everything is Facebook-based or something, right? You actually have to create a CGC account and then go in there and then post Remember, like, the internet, like, from 7 years ago when there was forums? That's what the CGC forums are still like.
No, the CGC message board have its problem. You know, that's one reason why I don't post often there anymore. I used to go there daily, 5 times a day. I sold thousands of books there. Okay? I post 6,000 times there. I have too much free times.
You need to get another
Semi-retired when I do it.
True, you know, like I said, you know, even 6 years ago at age 43, I'm just like, I'm retiring, you know. I'm going to be a lazy bum, read comic books, talk comic books, make videos, the hell with this working stuff, you know. But, no, it's a pissing contest, you know, and I make my share of enemies on the board, you know, and
John Byrne.
Some people block me.
I love it.
You know, there's people out there. You know, there used to be so many pissing contests, right? So many pissing contests at the CCC forum that after a while I got so sick and tired of seeing the same people fighting that I blocked them, right? Basically, you can put them on ignore, and you basically block every comments that they post, so you don't have to see their noise, right? And I block so many people because I'm just like, I just can't go to the message board on a daily basis and see 5 huge fights going on of pissing contests between this and that, and you know, that's cool. It's very knowledgeable forum for sure. If you I still visit the forum probably twice a week, like maybe twice a week for like 15 minutes or half an hour here and there, because there are a lot of good information, good discussion if you can find the right place to look. You know, it's still a very good place to sell. I encourage everybody that collect to go there to buy books, because I think it's a lot better than eBay. Sure, it's not like eBay where you can get bargains, like huge bargains, because you're dealing with seasoned collectors, right, that know the market, for the most part, know how to grade, so they're not going to list some shitty thing and say near mint like eBay, but at the same time, they're not going to give things away for cheap, but it's usually fairly reasonable. I get some of the best deal on many key books there. Okay, I bought my Hook 1 long ago there. I bought my Amazing Fantasy 15 long ago there. You know, I save money buying key books there instead of like Comic Link or any other places. You know, so you know, for sure, join it. You know, I mean, you don't have to participate in the pissing contest.
It's a wasteland of
Nick, let me ask you a question about, Nick, let me ask you a quick question about CGC and other slabbing companies when it comes to getting books, especially I've got a lot of Bronze Age books with like extra pages, extra paper on each page or something, miscut, or printer defects. You know, when you get those books and they've got the little crimp holes through them so bad they're fresh that they haven't even been opened. Yeah. You know, I've seen those pretty bad. How do CGC and them address issues like that?
Well, if you have, you know, one of the defects that many people are not familiar with is called Siamese page. Have you heard of Siamese page? It's just when the page was not cut, so you get like page that stick together. Okay, that's one fairly common production defects. I would say common, but I've seen it happens. And if you don't split the pages, then CGC is not going to give you a purple label for it. But if you cut the pages, they ding you with the purple label, which is stupid because it's a Siamese page. Kids back in the 70s or 80s, if they want to read a book that have page not cut right, they will use a scissor, right, to cut the page open so they can read the book. So, but at the end of the day, based on what you're saying, if a book is cut not right, and if it does not fit the slab mold, CGC will not grade it.
Actually, Sean, I can. What you were asking about the ink, this happened to me with. I had a Strange Tales 169, the origin of Doctor Strange, and I sent it in to CGC about 4 years ago. And when it came back, it was a regular blue label. It was a, I think it was a 8.0, and in the description of the label, not grader notes that you get online or whatever, but it said, origin, whatever, Doctor Strange, and it said manufacturing ink levels low, and I'd never seen that on a label before, and I've been getting slabs since about 2002, so I cracked it about 2 years ago and resubmitted to CGC, and that note was no longer there. Same exact thing. So that just shows you between one grader to the next. That one guy thought the ink on this particular comic was a manufacturing defect, but they don't ding you for it. They're just saying, they made a note of it saying, looks like some of the ink wasn't as dark on this book as other books. But then when I resubmitted it, the ink should probably be even lighter now, being that it was 3 years later. That note was no longer there. So it just shows between one grader to the next the inconsistencies, and typically manufacturing defects you aren't dinged on. As in other words, you won't get like unless they feel you cut it, then you get the restoration label. Like if you trim pages or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, you get some of those other like Charlton Comics. The printing qualities were pretty low on it. Like I've got a couple of Charlton Comics where you can tell it's the end of the ream of paper and stuff, so it's real jagged at the end, and it barely fits or something. It's all slanted. It's huge. I was wondering how bad that would affect the grade and stuff.
Well, if you have if your books are like that, right? Most likely it's going to be a 9.8. Okay, I mean CGC will allow production error to a certain grade. Okay, CBCS is actually stricter. Okay, you're like CGC does not take into account like centering on giving grades. Okay, so there are 10.0 CGC slab out there where the book is miswrapped. Okay, even 9.9, but CBCS is very strict about that. So if you have a really nice book, a bronze book, and it's miswrapped poorly, CBCS would not gonna give you a 10.0 or 9.9 on that. So there are subtle differences between two companies. One of the big thing about CBCS, for those that already know about, is they don't use micro chamber paper because they don't really think it's all that important. I'm sure that shocked a lot of so-called collectors out there that are in the mindset that you had to have micro chamber paper to protect these things and to preserve these things. And it's one of those things where when CGC started back in 1999, they did it. They thought it's going to be a big deal as a way to like lure people in, but guess what? The guys that created that concept decided it is shit. So take it for what it matters. For those that still want to use micro chamber paper, the thing with micro chamber paper is, does it protect? Does it help? Yes. Okay, I'm not saying it doesn't, but
wait,
what
Nick,
does it help?
CGC or CBCS doesn't use the micro chamber paper?
CBCS does not use it. Because from what I can gather, I believe the micro chamber paper only help the two pieces of paper where it's next to. Okay, so if you look at the CGC slab, the covers and the splash page and the last page is what is protected with the micro chamber paper. Okay, so how much it helped the rest of the book, it's not gonna make much of a difference. If you want to really protect the book for like centuries, put microchamber paper between every freaking page. Okay, that's what you need to do. Putting one piece of microchamber paper on the front cover does shit. Okay, it does shit. Okay, and I think that's where it's funny how that fact is kind of like glossed over by a lot of people that still want to sell you microchamber paper.
Yeah, but Nick, don't you think the ink, if the ink was going to bleed through, it would have done it already? I mean, after 10 years, 20 years after the fact, it would have bled through already, right? It's not going to bleed through 30 years later,
absolutely.
right? It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. What age paper is heat, humidity, all that stuff. You got to understand all the books that are aged so poorly was produced back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, right? Before central air was common. Okay? I'm pretty sure central air is common since 2000. Okay, so the fact that we all live in 70-degree-ish kind of environment with low humidity, the book is going to be protected. Okay, if the Edward Church collection survived with white page for 40 years, 30 years in a closet and still stay white without microchamber paper, guess what? You don't need it. Okay. I just think that the people that love microchamber paper is overstating the benefits.
It's also Nick, a revenue tool for CGC. Because you have to tell you to replace it, right? So it's a revenue tool for them if you could reslab your book every 7 years to refresh that microchamber paper.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just a marketing gimmick, and it's sunk in like some kind of like truth, some kind of facts.
I've graded my books personally that I've had for over 25 years, and they've been in just closets and everything, and they almost all of them have come back white pages without microchamber paper.
Nick, I think the one question we all want to ask you, Nick, is it poly or mylar?
Lambskin.
Oh yeah, lambskin. Because you know what? It makes the comic feel closer to you. And if you get ribbed poly bags, it makes it feel better in your hand.
I just prefer nothing. How about we just go, completely skinned on that one?
That's awesome.
Jenna
ribbed for the reader's enjoyment, right?
I will know, because I can tell you guys all the best, so you can feel it perfectly.
Well, that's an interesting show right there. We should
talking about comic books still? Are we still talking about polybag and mylar?
Yeah. That is an interesting question, though, Nick. What do you think? You think a book will stay just well preserved in polybag or a mylar, even if it's not slabbed or graded? I mean, what's your opinions on those?
My opinion is, if you keep your books in the optimal environment by saying, 70-something degrees with low humidity, it doesn't really matter. Sure, the moment that the poly bag is exposed to the acid from the ink, it will start to deteriorate even at the optimal storage condition. Okay, so from a practical money standpoint, you buy mylar, you don't have to replace the thing every 5 years or so. That's the only benefit in my mind, because if you store the book in the optimal condition as far as environment, it will not hurt the book. Okay, the plastic is aging, it's not hurting the book. Okay, but that's just my opinion. I don't think it's, I use a lot of mylar because I'm tired of replacing my poly bags, right? So, but that's the reason. It looked nicer in mylar. My poly looks shitty after 5 or 6 years. I have poly bags that have been around for 10 or 15 years, and sure, like we all know, they all become wavery and crappy.
Yeah.
But my books still stay white.
By definition, like HD.
Yeah, so it's not a big deal. I am a believer that, if you know how to take care of your books, you can leave it. It's almost as good as leave your book naked. Okay. just like the Edward Church collection. If you leave your book naked, let it breathe. Go commando.
Skin on skin, right?
And it'd be fine.
Going back to talking dirty again.
I like it.
Nick started it this time, right?
Hey, I'm a dirty old man.
My video's going to be playing with my hair covered in lotion.
I think we need a topless slab, right? A slab you could just take off the top, just to, pop it back in and out. Ooh, that didn't come out the correct way, but yeah.
So hopefully I answered the question. Is that I use Mylar. I would like to use Mylar to replace all the poly bags I have, but at one point I have like 13,000 books. It would cost me way too much to deal with that kind of nonsense, and so I don't have everything in Mylar. Still, I'm down to like about 3,000 books, and not everything is in Mylar. But slowly I will do that over the next few years. I still have maybe 10, 15 more years of enjoyment out of this hobby. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I've been asked, a lot of people ask me like, what would you want to start grading companies? And my first answer to that is, just because I can grade a book doesn't mean that you guys or anybody else would want to take my opinion for it, all right? I think that's one of the things that Steve Barak, the founder of CGC and CBCS, had. He was no guru, but it was just the right time, the right business savvy decision that they make to start CGC, and he just know the right people. Ultimately, CGC succeeded because they were able to convince the dealers at the time to buy into their services. Because if the dealers say, no way, grading service, bullshit, we don't need that shit, we're going to go with Overstreet, that would be over, okay? But the fact that they were able to convince many big dealers to say, submit your books, we will create 9.2, 9.4, 9.6, many more tiers. We can increase the value of your collection, your inventory. You can make more money, use our service, convince your buyers to trust us, all that stuff. That's the whole lightning in a bottle kind of moment. It works.
I agree with you. I think if Overstreet ever stepped into the grading arena, they put everybody out of business, because none of the grading companies are using Overstreet guides. If you read the Overstreet guide, the amount of defects they allow for a near mint copy is basically a CGC 9.0.
Yeah, I mean,
or 8.5. I mean, a near mint copy allows, I think, for 3 or 4 defects. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, even today, you will hear a lot of people, even on the CGC forum, talk about Overstreet grading guide, and I'm just like, no, it's not the same. I used to get into a lot of arguments with people there because it's just like, oh, the Overstreet guy said this and that. I'm just like, you are in the CGC forum. This is not Overstreet forum. Do not try to attempt to equate the two grading standards. It's not the same. One of the things that CGC did, a brilliant marketing move, was creation of the signature series, right? Because if you look at the Overstreet price guide, any kind of writing on the cover will knock the suckers down, right? There is no way a book with handwriting on the cover is near mint. But CGC came up with the way to bygone that whole concept that writing on the cover is a bad thing with the signature series and can put 9.8 on them. So by just looking at that, you should know that there is no similarity in the two grading guide. There are some, but there are glaring differences. Okay, glaring differences that CGC was able to create their own grading guide, and the market bought it. The market bought it. Okay, the market didn't care.
and look what CBCS is doing with the signature verification, and people are buying off of that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were the first to do that. PGX did signature verification first.
Well, PGX had so many opportunities to win. PGX probably make the biggest mistake by by not doing it right from the start, because they had the chances. You know, when they first came out, you know, if you talk to a lot of CGC people, there was huge concern. You know, PGX had a better holder. You know, from some people don't like it, but I think a lot of people like the PGX holder more. That was, you know, one of the few things that PGX did right. The holder was nicer, but the label sucks. You know, but then ultimately it failed because they didn't have enough graders. You know, people always said, "Oh, PGX is so much faster." You know why PGX is faster? Because nobody fucking used the servers. The guy's sitting there scratching his ass.
Big E's uses the service. He's a professional on PGX.
Listen, you know, some books that I want to just encapsulate for, you know, just because I want them slabbed and I want them cheaper and faster, I'll do it. For resale, I've sent books to CBCS, I have to CGC.
Yeah.
I'll use all three of them. I'll use all three of them.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I don't have anything wrong. See anything wrong with the Biggie's Enrique comments, because at the end of the day, if you want to sell for the biggest bang, you gotta go with CGC right now. Okay, hands down, they get a consistently average 10% more. Okay, I follow enough books to see that. I sold a lot of CBCS books that I slab, and I know they get anywhere from 5 to 10% below the CGC comparison. Yeah. Okay.
I have a question for you, Nick.
Yeah.
Knowing how your knowledge in grading, you know, is great. I've seen your episodes where you will pick apart a book and give it your grade and everything. And have you ever graded a book? You ever had a book in your mind that it was a certain grade and submit it, and then when it comes back a grade that you know you wasn't agreeing with, have you ever gave them like hell for it?
There was a few times where I disagree with the grade, but I never get them hell for it. And on some of those, you know, because I understand that, you know, I slap enough to know that I got beneficial grade a few times and bad grade a few times, so it evens out. Okay, to me, it's just like sometimes you got a crappy grades on a book, but hey, you know, if a more valuable book get a better grade than you expected, big thumbs up. You know, so I'm okay with that. But you know, often when I see a grade that I disagree with, it is usually because I missed something. You know, I had done it before where I sent a book and I thought it was going to be a 9.4 for sure. It came back an 8.5. I'm just like, what the fuck? You know, what are they thinking? And then I look closely at the book. I'm just like, oh, I saw the tear there, or I saw the big crease at the corner where I couldn't see before. And I'm like, was the crease there before or at the hand of CGC? You know, but at the end, the grade is fair because the crease is there. You know, I can't blame them for giving the book the grade. So it happens, but you know, I slap probably over 1,000. I stopped counting for sure, over 1,000 books with CGC. So I had my share of good and bad and whatever, you know.
I got a question for you. Would you tell people to take pictures of their books before they even submit them?
Yes, I highly recommend people to scan their books because if the books get damaged by CGC along the way, you know, there have been many big fight in the CGC forum where people blame CGC for damaging the books and all that kind of stuff. And if you can find those discussion, it's pretty entertaining to read, you know, because people go crazy. There's people that defend CGC, and even the grader will come in and say, this is what happened, you know, all that stuff. So it can happen, but it's never, especially these days with technology where you can take a video, right? You can whip out your camera and do a quick 30-second HD video of your books.
Yeah.
You should do it, especially on a valuable book. One of the things that I always tell people to do is, like, when you submit a book, don't afraid to attach personal notes to the book to let the grader know what to look for. You know, I mean, I submit books where the staple is really weak in a certain area, and I would write a big note and put it in a Mylar, say, please be very careful with the bottom staple. It's barely attached to the front cover. I do things like that so that if it does come pop, I can blame them.
Yeah.
Because
that's too much work, though, man.
You know, because I included that note to say that please do not be too harsh with the. But I encourage everyone to do things like that. Like, if the book is like almost detached from the centerfold, whatever it is, write a note before when you submit the book so that the graders see it, so that they be more careful when they flip through the books or whatever. Cover your ass, okay? because if you don't, at the end of the day, it's your words versus their words. So if you want any kind of compensation, and CGC have done this before, they will make it right for you if the error is on their end. Okay, here's a good story to tell before I go. I gotta go in about 5 minutes. There was a guy that submit a book and get a green label, right? He resold the book to somebody else. That guy cracked the book out, re-slab it, and get a purple label. Okay? Somehow CGC deemed the book restored the second time. He was pissed. He sold the book to a third guy. The third guy resubmit the book, get a blue label. The second guy was super pissed because he lost money, right? Because he's the one that bought the blue label, get the purple label, resold it, right?
Yeah.
And after a whole lot of discussion in the forum, CGC made it right. They compensate the guy that got the purple label to make that he didn't lose money. Okay, so for those that think that CGC can catch all the restoration, that's an example right there where they fucked up twice. On the same book. It was hilarious to read the discussion there because it was crazy. Because every time anyone say anything bad about CGC, there are certain people in the forum that will have foam in the corner of their mouth because they're all like, "Oh, how dare you say that?" It's like they are so great, blah blah blah. And, they're human.
Yeah.
They make mistakes.
Yeah, they are human because they did mess up on one of my books too. As a Incredible Hulk 600 variant, the Tim Sale cover.
Yeah.
And it's Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb, and Ed McGuinness. So I got all three of them to sign it. And CBCS they put Jeff Loeb instead of Jeff Loeb.
Well, they should see those kind of things. I wish they would fix it for free.
No, they do fix it for free.
Do they pay your shipping cost too?
They pay everything.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
I still haven't got my book back though. I just emailed them, and I'm still waiting for the email back because it's not on my record on my account. I don't see it on there. I see the books that I did submit at Big Apple, but I don't see that one. And I talked to the guy and he said, "Oh, just email us because I don't see it." So I'm hoping they didn't lose my book.
No, they're waiting to send you a shipping bill.
Yeah, they're sending me my balls in their mouth, probably.
Hey guys,
before I go, like I told Marty when we had the last chat, if anybody came to visit Sarasota, let me know, or even Orlando or Tampa, I will be happy to take you to CGC headquarters or CBCS and introduce you to the guys, because they cool bunch of guys.
That's awesome.
Cool. And you're paying for lunch, right?
They always pay my lunch.
Well, you got to pay my lunch if I'm going with you.
Yeah, well, when they go out to lunch with me, they have paid for most of my lunch because they don't want to appear that I pay for good grades.
Well, all you got to do is just follow the money. That's it, and they'll pay for your lunch.
But
no worries.
They are a fun bunch of guys to hang out with. They know everything about comic books. They have stories out the yin yang. You can hear stories about everybody.
Yeah.
And like I said, anybody that want to work for either company, let me know and I can put your foot in the door for you.
My friend probably needs your help because his first the first time he worked with him was Big AppleCon, but he was just a witness, following the guys around and stuff.
Yeah, like I said, both companies are very busy. I'm sure they can always use good people. Ultimately, it's about finding the right people that understand the hobbies and know how to handle comic book. You know, because it's long hours. You know, these guys work hard. I can tell you, all the guys there work really hard because they are so busy. They are making money. Not great money. I think Tim asked a question like, if you get hired in the beginning, you probably make like $30,000. You know, as a starter, like a trainee kind of thing. You know, it's not like you know. But like I said, if you're a renter, stay renting. But if you know what you're doing, you know, I think they do pay. You know, CBCS, I have no doubt, pay better than CGC. You know, I think, you know, because you gotta understand, CGC is a small division of a big company. It's a big corporate that great coins and stamps and not stamp but paper money and all the other things. So it's a big compound. It's like a campus. If you drive there, it's like a big campus, okay, with lots of fancy gates and stuff. And you know, I mean, so it's big money, but you know, big corporate, there's different kind of pay structure. You know, so CBCS is more lax. You know, it's not as highly structured. It's a bunch of maybe 30 people working there.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, so the pay might be better. I can't say for sure. I shouldn't say for sure, but
I mean, they're in the state of Florida. I mean, you could live like a king with $30,000 in Florida.
Florida is a state of no income tax. Move down here. When I moved down here from Boston, I'm just like, I'm getting a 7% raise right away.
No, that union is weak. I can't move to Florida.
But no, it's a good place. You know, it's hot as hell down here, but you know, if you can deal with the heat.
Yeah, I used to live in Miami for a while.
Yeah, Enrique. Well, anyhow, Marty, I gotta run.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Oh no, thank you for coming, brother. We really appreciate your time and just sharing us with all this insight and stuff. Good stuff, brother. Thank you.
Man.
Well,
make sure to take
nice chatting with you.
And being in my pocket.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks a lot, Nick. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
All right, later.
Hey guys, we are at the portion of our show where we're going to do some shout outs and we're going to close it out with some final thoughts. And first of all, hey, you know, awesome, Nick, for us to join us on the this live chat and just kind of do some insight and share some of that knowledge he was just talking about. So thanks so much for that, Nick. And we will close this out. We had people leave left and right on us because, of course, of Walking Dead. We went a little bit over with the second portion of the show, but it's all good. We had some good discussions here, and we'll start out with from my left, your right. We'll start out with Big E's Comics. What's up, Big E's? Thanks for joining us, man.
Man, pleasure. That was cool. Nick on. Always wanted to, speak to him one-on-one, which is cool. The guy is a well of knowledge, man. Just I want to give a shout out to Sean, Greg, Steve, and Trevor, and Tim that left and Mark that left. Always a pleasure to chill out and hang out with you guys and talk and everything. And the shout out that I want to give is for I think his name is just Kirby, the channel, not Lee Kirby, Dicto Kirby. I think it's pretty new channel, and Weapon X Comics. Those guys got some good channels. If you guys you probably seen them comment on your videos and stuff. Give them a sub. They got some good content.
Thank you, brother. Once again,
enjoy your Walking Dead day.
Thanks a lot, brother. Thanks for coming on, man. Sean from Gene Paul Ace Peter. Go ahead, brother.
What's up, man? Well, thanks for having me on. What's up to everybody here? Give a shout out to Mike Sipe, Bluntman53, Celos, everybody in the comments. And if anybody wants to do an off-air hangout, I got an off-air hangout going on after this. And yeah, that's it. Awesome.
Awesome, brother. A wonderful thing too. Your off-air hangouts. You get to meet so many people in the community, man. That you don't often see their face because they're doing like those first-person shooter videos. But then they come on your hangout and you get to see their face-to-face and get to know them. So, shout out to you on that one, brother. Thanks for coming on with us. Greg from Greg's Comic Book Corner. Go ahead, brother.
All right, so thanks again for having me on. It was awesome, and actually sit and listen to Nick. I've always wanted to chat with Nick or do one of his chats with him, just because he's so he's just got so much knowledge and everything, and it was really awesome to get him to come on. But like you said, so the off-air hangouts, that's where I get to subscribe to a lot of new channels. And these guys are, not strangers. They're not overly, old or new, but some of the guys that I've met through the off-air hangouts, Dr. Silver Age #1 has been awesome. Undisputed Frost, awesome. Tim Morant, awesome stuff. All those guys. And all of them I've met through either the chats here or the off-air hangouts. So if you guys ever get a chance to do one of the off-air hangouts with Sean, get on there. It's awesome. You get to meet so many awesome people who just have a lot of great books and a lot of knowledge. So I appreciate Sean for doing that all the time, and I appreciate you and Ray for always doing these the live ones, which it's great. I don't get to come on very often, but I do watch all of them. So thanks.
Awesome, thank you, brother, and thank you for coming on. I love the direction the community, the comic book community, has gone in the past few months with all these things that we're able to interact with one another. So thanks a lot for coming on again, Greg. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
We're gonna go with Manny from Manny NYC. Go ahead, brother.
What's up, man? What's going on, everybody? No, I just wanna if you guys could, just do me a favor and give a sub to my step brother's little girl. She has a YouTube channel. She's up to like 32 subs right now. She's just a little cute little girl. She just makes like kooky videos and stuff, But if you guys do me that favor, man, and go give her, go show her some love.
So just throw that link.
It's yeah, I'll throw the link up, and if for you guys out there, her name is MC Isabel. Her logo is like it looks like a little sketch of a girl. So that's it, MC Isabel. Go check her channel out. Thanks a lot, guys.
It's like 10 names.
Yeah, the logo is like a sketch. It's like a little sketch of a little girl on it. But I'll try to throw that up there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for coming on, even though the late portion of the show.
Yeah, I had to do some adult stuff with my wife.
Of course, life happens.
Oh, that's what you call it, adult stuff.
Yeah.
You're gonna get Jenna started. You're gonna get Jenna started again. Thanks, Manny. All right, we have got Steve from Pain A's Comics. Go ahead, brother.
Thanks for having me on again, bro. Really appreciate it. It was really cool to have Nick on. Really knowledgeable. It was really enjoyable listening to him. So that was good. As Frank ain't here, I'm going to give a shout out to the female fanatic force, as he traditionally gets to do. And I'll also give a shout out to Reader 1717, Cammy. She's really cool. She just started going on there. Yeah, she's awesome. I love talking to her. It was great talking to her in one of Sean's live chats. So that's it for that. Follow me on Instagram and all that shit.
Sounds good, brother. Thanks for coming on once again, man. Always great to have you.
Oh, sorry. Before the next person, yo, Marty, man, congratulations. You won a contest. My thing.
I won your contest?
Yeah, you did.
Big E's, that's 3, brother. That's 3 contests I won, man.
I told you, man. You spoke too soon, man.
I guess so.
Let's just let it. It's surprises. It's surprise. Don't worry. I'm sending you some good stuff, bro.
Can I get in these contests? Come on, guys.
You gotta make videos.
Oh, I can make videos. I don't know if anybody want to watch them.
You know they're gonna watch them. Come on, don't play silly. They're gonna watch them. Well, thanks a lot. Hey, thanks, Manny. I appreciate that, man. That's awesome, dude. I can't believe I actually won 3 freaking contests. I think my luck is changing for the better, man. That's awesome, dude. Hey, here's a
comment, bro.
Lost myself right. All right, Trevor from Rage Comics. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me on. It was great to listen to Nick talk about the grading. I mean, it's always good information. My shout out goes to an artist I met at a convention. His name's Jamie Tyndall, and he does a lot of the pinup girls and stuff.
Jamie is awesome, man. I've been trying to. I know Jamie. Just not to cut you off, man, but I know Jamie, man. I've been trying to get him on my show since the beginning, but really good guy. I talked to him every convention. Very nice guy.
It was super busy, and he just sat there and he talked to me, and he's a super nice guy, great artist. So go check out his work online, Jamie Tyndall.
Yeah. And hopefully he'll have some free time to actually come on the show sometime. I know I invited him on a few times, but he's just a busy guy, you know. So.
Yeah. Oh, for
That'd
sure.
be great.
Great artist, though.
Great artist. Thanks a lot, Rage. Appreciate that. Anything else, brother?
No, that's it. Yeah. Good show, guys.
Thank you. Last but not least, my hostess with the mostest. We have Jenna, the sexy botker. Is that how you say it?
No. That's okay. We're good.
It's okay. We're good. Go ahead, Jenna.
Oh, no, it was really good. I'm so glad we got so much information from my new little pocket friend, Nick. So that was exciting. I know it helps out a lot, especially when you guys were talking about the 100th book in Walking Dead. That was a really big one, because I know a lot of people are going to start selling that after this episode tonight that is airing. Somebody I want to shout out to is my girl in Arizona, Pretty Phenom, and she does a lot of Twitch, I guess, video game stuff, other things like that. It's PH3NOM, if anybody wants to follow her. She's pretty hot as well. So, also, you can always add me on Instagram and follow me, what I'm doing. Otherwise, I think that's all I have.
Once again, wonderful to have yourself on here, Jenna. Absolutely beautiful addition.
Thank you.
Oh, anyways, guys.
I'm pretty tame today. Next week I'll be a little bit more rambunctious.
Oh, absolutely. We're looking forward to it. And then, you know, if you guys don't know, Jenna actually helps me with the talking points and the outlines for the show. So I talk to her throughout the week and come up with ideas what we can talk about. And she, you know, provides her input when she has free time. I know she's a busy lady, but she's awesome to have on, and I really like her personality. So thank you so much, Jenna.
If any of you guys awesome chatters have anything that you want to talk about, you can always direct message me so I can get a hold of Marty and figure it out. You can add me on Facebook, and I usually respond pretty quickly, so we would love to hear your input as well.
Awesome, sweetie. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. And that wraps up Comic Talk episode number 22. And we, of course, with all our panel members here and our special guest, ETA Nick, came on and shared some information as well. You guys, I really appreciate your input. And my shout out is to, once again, I'm going to go with Gene, Paul, Ace, Peter for having those offline talk shows and hangout sessions, and you guys, you just go check it out. It's an awesome forum, and it's really great. And my final shout out is to my lovely hostess with the mostest, Jenna. You know, so go check her out. Follow her on Facebook. Follow her on the gram as well. And like I said, just shoot her a message if there's anything. If you can't get a hold of me, she'll be the next person to go through as far as getting type of information or any questions and answers that you want to do on the show. So thanks a lot, everybody. You guys take care of yourself. You be safe out there. Have a good one, and I will talk at you guys soon.